Hola, it's Kai Pacho with the weekly Pele Report here on Playa Grande in the Dominican Republic. Having a little retreat out here on a windy beach. I'm going to see if I can find a nice quiet spot for us, but it sure is beautiful. And it's very apropos for the sun moving through Pisces. Retrograde Mercury coming back through Pisces to join with the sun on Saturday. Sun-Mercury conjunction. Great lineup between the sun, and then Mercury's in between the sun and the earth. Right? So, retrograde. And Venus is in Pisces until Friday. Venus moves into Aries, joins together with Neptune on Saturday, then hits Saturn on Sunday, sextiles Pluto on Monday. So we've got a string of aspects going on, one after the other. That Sun Mercury is trine Jupiter over there in Cancer, a water trine, and that's because, Jupiter is stationing, like sitting still direct, about to go direct at 15 degrees, 5 minutes of Cancer. Jupiter is stationing to go direct after 5 months of retrograde. Jupiter's going to start heading back again. It doesn't go into Leo until very late in June. So we've still got more water feelings. I'll interpret it later. The moon is done with her eclipse over there in Virgo, is moving into Libra today, and by Friday she is going to be going right along and bopping through into Scorpio until by Monday she's going to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until 2 weeks from now we're going to have that new moon happening, right? So let me find a spot if I can that's out of the wind and talk at you. All right, everybody. Woo! I got to get going before I burn up out here in the sun. Ow! Whoosh! So, like I said last week, it's good to look at the big picture because astrology is the study of cycles, cycles upon cycles upon cycles, and looking forward to the future, looking back to the past gives us a sense of where we are in the cycle. Are we in the middle? Are we at the beginning? Are we entering a birth canal? Are we leaving a birth canal? Are we, if we're surfing, is there a wave coming? Or, when do we paddle? It helps in these times of confusion, in these times of transition. Astrology is a beautiful means of obtaining a sense of, the field. Yeah, a sense of, what's the terrain that we are traveling upon. And this is a time of flux. It's a time of transition. I mean, this Saturn-Neptune, that happens every 37 years or so, all right, is only part. I mean, it's a big cycle all by itself. It's been thousands of years since it happened at the beginning of Aries. But even then, it's not alone. So yes, we are birthing a new paradigm. We're birthing a new reality. But what is this about? I'm going to say that it is the birth of a 2,160-year cycle, the Age of Aquarius. We are emerging out of the age of Pisces, out of the age of Neptune, out of the age of innocence, of naivety, of illusion, of following what the master says. Pisces is a sign of slavery, martyrdom, victimization, innocence and naivety that, like sheep being led to the slaughter for a couple thousand years now. And it's a big transition. Okay, it takes a couple hundred years to make this shift from an age of Pisces to an age of Aquarius. And now, we're kind of right there. Okay, we are on the cusp. I will say, since Pluto went into Aquarius in 2023 and 2024. This age of Aquarius is like even more so upon us. And I'd say like the final straw in the camel's back, is that the north node of the moon is going to enter the sign of Aquarius in July. So I want to talk about this age of Aquarius, but first I also want to give you just this sense, okay, that next month in April, the planet Uranus changes signs from Taurus into Gemini. And then in June, okay, Chiron changes signs. After 7 years, 8 years in Aries, it's going into Taurus. And then in July, besides the moon's node changing, Jupiter, moves from Cancer into Leo. June 30th, July 1st, right at the beginning, right? So, so we've had Saturn, Neptune, Chiron, Uranus, Jupiter, and the moon's node. 6 major cycles doing a big change and a big shift right now. So we're kind of, as you can see, April, June, July, there's more to come. There's more to come. And this eclipse right now and the fire horse. It's like the gun just went off and the gates opened and the horses are running. Shoom. We're just out of the gate. And it's at this transitional point from Pisces to Aquarius where we are in a state of limbo. It's like the trapeze artist that lets go of one trapeze and he doesn't have the other one yet. So we're just kind of floating through the air with nothing to hold on to. And this can create tremendous anxiety. It can bring up a lot of fears. It can bring up a lot of insecurities. And there can be a tendency to go back to the past. Instead of maintaining, or initiating or really getting out of that gate into the new, we can sit there. Tom Kenyon really gave me this thing of like after we die, there's this trail of light. And if you're a Christian, you see Christ. If you're a Buddhist, you see Buddha. If you're Islam, you see Mohammed. And all your friends are on this. But if we can pause, the longer we can wait in the emptiness, the longer we can be calm, mindful, breathe into the void, into the emptiness, into the not knowing, the greater number of opportunities, the greater number of paths begin to open up to us. There is more than one path ahead. But the challenge, like I say, particularly for the ego that wants physical, financial security, right? Cancer, Capricorn axis, emotional security, is to go back to the past. Make America great again. Like go back to where we were before. Okay, and throw this, past up as as a new, it's a new dream, a new fantasy, a new potential. So Aquarius is, the archetype of liberation. And this archetype of liberation is to step outside society, outside the norm, outside of the convention, right? In order to see a bigger, wider, broader picture. And there's 3 ways that we can do that. One way of doing that, is to go back to the past. The Luddites, the Amish, I'm not going to use my phone or my charge card. I'm going to just use cash. They're not going to, take my picture. I'm going to, I'm going to go back to the past. Is one way. Another way is to absolutely rebel and revolt from the convention and reinvent ourselves. Step into the absolute unknown, but in full awareness and full trust and full faith that we will be guided, and we step forward alone. The third way is to become a part of a subgroup, part of a subculture, part of a community where we can have this connection, get a sense of security and identity and support, and move into the future together with a shared vision. So I want to say, with all this war going on right now, and we have Trump in office, and what he's doing is he's kind of going back to the patriarchy. He's going back to the old way of one supreme power, a world power with the strongest military that can go into Venezuela or Mexico, Iran, or anywhere and conquer. This is what's been going on for thousands of years of patriarchy, is war. This age of Aquarius is rearranging, Aquarius and Uranus rules the collective consciousness. It is international politics, international diplomacy, how our borders are run, how migration is managed and handled, and how we move together as a group of countries. And what we can see happening is this breaking apart. It's not really a breaking apart. Actually, what's happening is almost the entire globe. I have been on 5 continents. I've been in 7 or 8 countries in the last 5 months. Everybody I talk to and everywhere I go, I am a little embarrassed to say that I'm an American, because there is so much anti-American sentiment. Different allies are getting together. Different countries are all banding together, but none of them are really in support of these tariffs, of these wars, of this new, hawkish, aggressive, violent expression of power. Rather than leading by example, opening our arms like the Statue of Liberty, come to us. And we've spent over $8 trillion, the United States, $8 trillion on military operations in the last few years, instead of creating peace, right, in its own country, feeding and housing and caring for its own population to be an example to other countries of how to manage power. We have violence in our own streets, homeless people in our own streets, and we're going out. So the whole thing with this Pluto moving through Aquarius, it's there for 20 more years, okay? Pluto doesn't go into Pisces till 2044. So it's the horse right out of the gate. We're at the very beginning of a reorganization of our political borders, our political alliances. Yeah, this whole world in the next 20 years, okay, is going to get remodeled, okay, remolded. And, it's going to take some time. So what I can say is, these current offensives that are happening are doomed to failure. It's not going to work the way that it has been planned, strategized, or envisioned. It's going to get very messy. And it's going to create a lot of suffering, and it's going to create a lot of division. What we can do as individuals is really, this is astrology for the soul. What can I do? The mantra is about myself, okay? What we can do is not fall back into the past. The patriarchal control, domination, conquering, aggression. This is the old way. The new paradigm, the new way forward has to do with listening. It has to do with cooperation. Aquarius is groups, communities, organizations, corporations, United Nations, you name it. Okay? Where there is unity in diversity. There is not the projection onto a country and making that country a shadow. Yeah, that is finding some dark shadow element, and individually, it's also us not projecting our shadows onto our partners, family members, other community members. But it's a time to own our shadow, own our fears. What's coming up now through this eclipse is our shadow dragon fears and desires that we have suppressed, ignored, controlled, denied, and that's what makes things erupt. And it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. This is, right now we're coming into Mars, just going into Pisces. It's going to be there a couple more months. I'm going to say there's going to be a huge turnaround by July. So what we want to do is we want to kind of hang in here, hang on to that life preserver or whatever, for, the rest of March, April, May, June, and by July, when Jupiter goes into Leo, the North Node goes into Aquarius, Uranus will be in Gemini, and there's going to be Chiron in Taurus. Things are really going to be shifting these next few months. It's time to breathe. It's time to really tap into our highest self. And it's time to gather together with like-minded souls. I want to read the Sabian symbol for Sun conjunct Mercury. It's the chart that you can see at the beginning of the report. It's an Easter parade. The capacity inherent in all great socio-cultural images to unite the members of a community in a display of excellence. Be an example. Modeling. I want to model this. Here we see the unifying power of great myths and symbols in truly organic and self-perpetuating culture. The image of the resurrection spurs humanity within the pale of Christendom to appear at their very best and to dynamize themselves in some kind of self-renewal in response to the Christ mythos and to the call of nature's springtime. Wherever found, this symbol emphasizes the value of attuning our life activities and moods to the ritualistic patterns of society or earth nature, rather than acting in complete independence from the group. At this stage, the collective dominates the individual. Yin overpowers yang. It's a time for conformity to what constitutes the highest ideals of one's culture and for participation in collective peak experiences. This is a time of self-renewal. That eclipse in Virgo, that south node in Virgo, is saying, let's get every little hair in place. Let me make myself as perfect, as powerful, as integrated, as awesome as I can be, so that I can join together with society, with my brothers and sisters, and together we can really create, a new society, a new paradigm that is really awesome. This is where it's kind of like, we need to break out of conforming to the old way and the old consensus, but we also need to gather together, to find camaraderie and strength and support for this whole new advancement. And so it is. It is time to go within. I gotta say, I'm doing a workshop here. I've got, a room full of amazing people from all over the place. I'm gonna do one more workshop in Switzerland before I kind of make a change in my life. I think I may be withdrawing a little bit, not really traveling so much anymore, doing so many workshops, making public appearances. I think it's really time for me to do a little inner self-renewal work myself. So if you want to join me in Switzerland, there's 12, well, there's not room for 12 anymore. There's only 12 of us are going to gather, in the Swiss Alps. This, I think it is in last week of May. Check it out. I'll put the link down below. Another link that I'm putting in the notes, is a link to sign a petition so that Congress is the only body of government able to authorize, a war. What we have is kind of a runaway rogue, president in the Oval Office there, who's kind of being more of a dictator. And it's not the democracy is not really functioning as a democracy. So there's a link. They're voting on it within the next couple of days. Hopefully you get this report in time. And if you are in the United States, you could sign this petition to, return the power to declare war to Congress, not one person, right? This is what we have is, and it said so. I mean, I talked about it. It's right there in the Sabian symbol. This is not a time for an individual to be acting on his own. It's time for us to act together, baby. Ow! This week's song, I got two songs, I mean, I haven't been able to sleep so good during this eclipse time, and with this whole, insanity going on all over the world. But So 2 songs, For What It's Worth, is an old Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young song. You know, there's battle lines being drawn. Nobody's right when everybody's wrong. Young people speaking their minds, getting so much resistance from behind. It's time we stop. Hey, what's that sound? Everybody look what's going on. We gotta look what's going on, baby. But the other one that comes to me, and of course you may not remember this, it's very, very, very old. I'll put a link to it if I can even find it. Where have all the flowers gone? I think it's by Peter, Paul, and Mary. It's pretty sentimental. It's pretty emotional. It'll bring up the feelings. The flowers have gone to graveyards, every one. When will we ever learn? When will we ever learn? Hopefully soon. The sooner the better. I can make a new beginning or repeat the mistakes from the past. Silence and suppress some voices within, or integrate them all at last. We've got a wounded child in there. Maybe we've got an angry child in there. We've got a critical adult in us. We've got a lover. We've got a king, a queen, a magician, a warrior, a worker, an inventor, a mystic. We are all 12 archetypes. We are all 12 signs. And we've all got Saturn somewhere. We've all got Pluto somewhere. We've all got shadow somewhere. And we tend to, the source of shadow is suppression. Rather than suppress it, project it, and attack it outside of us, it's good to listen to it inwardly. Feel our anger, feel the despair, feel the grief, feel the sorrow. Let it, and what does that wounded child need? What does that angry teenager in us need? If we listen to all of our different, voices within, it's just like all the different countries of the world. Each different country, each different culture, each different religion has something to offer the collective. And we want to listen to every country. We want to listen to every culture. And inside each one of us, we want to listen to each aspect of our psyche, each aspect of our soul. And as we integrate ourselves, so too shall we see the world integrate itself into a peaceful, cohesive whole in the future. As without, so within. What's going on out in the world out there, right? You can see it astrologically. Sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and the North Node, all in Pisces. It's still chaos. It's still, the waves washing the sand out to sea. It's still letting go, letting go, letting go. I think, Mars is going to be in Pisces, maybe another 6 or 8 weeks. So we're still going to have, this kind of let go, chaos, what the hell is going on, confusion. And rather than jump back and go, I need something to hold on to. I'm going to go back to the way I used to be, the way that I used to do it, how I used to think, what I used to want. I'm going to go back to hang out, meditate, listen, Have faith. Keep the hope. Spirit will speak. The way shall be made clear. One more time, baby. I can make a new beginning or repeat the mistakes from the past. Silence and suppress some of those voices within, or integrate them all at last. May you integrate, Virgo, integrate all of your fragmented selves and become whole for the Easter parade, so that you are your best, highest version of yourself, ready to come out as the sun hits Aries, moon goes into Libra. But we're going to have our next new moon is in Aries, and it's going to be awesome. But in the meantime, keep the faith. Namaste. Aloha. So much love, baby.